Hey guys, today I want to warn you about good props and bad props, because these are cheap Chinese props. These are the original unique props, and these are really awful. They are the worst props I have ever seen for the Typhoon H, because this is what happened on my first flight with them. It just snapped off in midair. And guess what happened on the second flight? Another one snapped off in midair. And if you see how they snapped, both brakes are identical. So there is something wrong with the manufacturing of these props, because this should never, of course, never happen in midair. I checked them out and compared them to the original unique props. They seem to be made the same way, except for this is a bit different. If you see this, this little part over here is way more to the right than on the other side. So that was one thing I noticed. But then if you look on the bottom, I'll keep them like this. This is the original unique prop. This is a Chinese prop. Look at the difference in material that unique used to hold the blade to the hub. Here there's nothing. There's just a big hole. And here there's just two tiny holes. I think this is maybe two. To reduce weight or something, but I don't even understand why Unique makes these holes, because making this thing rigid, making this thing solid makes it more rigid and much stronger. But this is just terrible. It holds nothing. It will just snap at that hole. So yeah, this is awful. So this is what happened to me twice. First flight, I noticed that during the flight I saw some erratic behavior from my Typhoon in the air, and I didn't really see what it was. And then when it came, when I flew back to my own position to land it, I noticed that something weird was going on, because it was shaking like crazy, and it was going everywhere. And it was really hard to land. And when it landed, it tipped over, and I tipped over forward, causing the front two propellers to hit the ground. And I thought that caused the first propeller to snap. So I was like, okay, shit happens. I don't know what that was. So I went for a second test flight, took off the CGO3 because I didn't want to ruin the camera in case something was wrong. So I took off the camera and took it for a flight, first a slow flight and then a faster flight with more erratic behavior. And then all of a sudden I heard it in midair, because I was pretty close to myself, and then I heard not a real snapping sound, but I heard something was wrong, because the buzzing started to be much louder, and then the Typhoon started wobbling and rocking back and forth. So then I tried to land it again, and again it tipped over forward, but then I saw that the back propeller was broken. So that's of course how I noticed that these two shitty things were the cause of this crash. I contacted the supplier. I got them through Aliexpress, and I told them the whole story in an email. And this is the response I got from them. That's pretty stupid. I mean, how the hell can you respond like that? But well, for some reason they did. So then I filed a complaint with Aliexpress, and they contacted the supplier, and then the supplier agreed to refund the whole product. It was only $15, I think. So that wasn't too big of a deal, but still, you don't want to pay for crap, right? So I got my money back, so that's a good thing. But these are yeah, just if you check how flexible they are, this is awful. If you check the unique prop, it's still flexible, but this is, you can feel it near the blades. It gets a lot more rigid, but this is just awful. See how they flex? If I do this to the unique prop, the thing will just snap. So let's see how long it'll take. Oh, that's not too bad. But still, I'm never going to use these again because it's just not worth risking your drone. So those are good for the trash. Okay, it doesn't end there, because the snapping of the propeller blade, of course, causes a huge shift in balance on your motors. And that's where I found the next problem, because because it went so nuts, my motor kind of got screwed. I already took it out, but if you check here, the scratches on the motor, it's nuts. I don't know, it looks like something got caught in between, but and this is something I noticed today, because I was flying, testing my new Maytech carbon props, because I didn't want to risk any more prop shit to happen. So I bought some Maytechs, and then I tried them out, and all of a sudden I got a 5 motor malfunction warning. So I was like, what the hell is going on? And then all of a sudden, I had 2 motors stop in midair, so I was able to land it on 4 motors, and then when it came down, I felt the motors, and this motor, it literally burned my fingers. It was that hot. So when I got home, I took everything apart, checked out the motor. The motor seems to be fine. I set it up in a vise and just tested it out with another ESC attached to it, and it seems to work fine. It is a bit out of balance, but it's probably because there's some metal missing here. You can actually feel that it's not good anymore. So I'm going to order a new one and keep this one for a plane or whatever. I don't know yet, but I'm going to order a new motor. But that's not the only thing, because what I noticed when I took it out, I don't know if you can see this very clearly. If you see the center of the hub here, there's some molten plastic in there. That's how hot the motor got. And even worse, I don't know if this is visible, but right here, there's a crack. Here you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but there you go. You can see my hand through it. If I move this white plug underneath, you can just see it through the mount. So this is where it's all the way through. And here as well. You can actually move it, so this part and this part, it's completely gone. And it's probably due to the vibrations that caused the that was caused by the broken prop. So I'm going to have to order a whole new arm, order a whole new motor, and maybe even one of these front two is broken as well. But the motors look fine. I don't see any wearing or tearing on this one, and it seems to run smooth, so I don't think I will be replacing this one. But the other one, definitely, because I don't want to risk anything else. So that's kind of a shitty story. But the moral of this story, don't buy this cheap crap, because it's just, I just want to break this thing. See? There we go. That's how easy it is. That's just shitty crap. So don't buy it. Always go for the for the standard unique props, or go for something that's tried and tested, like these Maytech carbon props, because I flew them today and they are super fantastic. They're much quieter than the original props, and they're just totally rigid. You can hardly bend them, and that's also what makes these props a lot more silent, because I've noticed today when I flew them, you can hear the drone, but it's so much quieter than normal. And they've got aluminum hubs, so that's not going to break. This is just tough material, and they come pretty well balanced straight out of the box, so that's a good thing as well. So you do have to check them a bit, and maybe one or two you should file them down. You see, like I did here, but they're just fantastic. I love these props, so I probably will never be flying anything else than these props. So, oh yeah, one more thing. I want to ask you guys something. Do these seem to snap a lot more, the B props, than the A props? Because I've got a whole bag of A props left. Oh wait, these are the Chinese ones. And is it me, or is it something that Unique did with the A props and the B props? Because when I snap a prop, for whatever reason, it always seems to be a B prop, because these are my only B props that I have left, and I got 7 A props. So what's up with that? I don't understand. If any of you guys have the same problem, please let me know, because I'm just curious on what the reason for this might be, because they all seem to be manufactured the same way. The only difference is again the holes in the bottom. So the B props have 2, and this one has 1. See? All the A props, they all have that single hole in the middle. But I would say that would make them more fragile. Because, yeah, I don't know. Any reason for this? If anybody knows, please let me know, because I'm curious. See, these all have these 2 holes next to the attachment. But anyway, please let me know if you have any experience in snapping A props, because it never seems to happen to me. I think I only snapped 1, because I hit a fence while I was walking through the woods with my drone, and then I accidentally hit a fence and I had 1 prop break, and that was an A prop, but never one in a crash or whatever, or if I hit something flying into a tree or whatever. It's always the B props that go first. So please let me know, and yeah, if you have any comments, anything else to say, put them below, and I'll be happy to answer them. So have a nice day, great flying.